Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I guess we are reading in English. You are staying? Also? Okay. English. Okay. So we are reading today from Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated and explained by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Today we are reading from chapter 8, which is called Attaining the Supreme. And we are reading text 23, to my knowledge. Yeah? Yes? Okay.
23, yes.
Yeah. That is also the verse on the board. Okay. Yatra Kale Tvanavritam Yatra Kale Tvanavritam Avriting Chaiva Yoginaha Avritang Chaiva Yoginaha Prayata Yanti Tam Kalam Vaksyami Bharatarshaba Vaksyami Bharatarshaba Yatra Kale Tvanavritim Avriting Chaiva Yoginaha Prayata Yanti Tankalam Vaksyami Bharatarshaba Yatra Kale Tvanavritim Avriting Chaiva Yoginaha Prayata Yanti Tankalam Vaksyami Bharatarshaba. Please, Prabhu. Yatra kale tvanavritim avritim chaiva yoginaha prayati yanti tankalam vaksyami bharatar sabha. Yatra kale tvanavritim Okay. Yatra, at which? Kale, time. To, and. Anavritim, no return. Avritim, return. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Yoginaha, different kinds of mystics. Prayataha, having departed. Yanti, attain. Tam, that. Kalam, time. Vakshyami, I shall describe. Bharata Rishabha, O best of the Bharatas. Yes. Translation. O best of the Bharatas. Krishna is telling, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Yes, maybe one time you can also repeat. O best of the Bharatas. I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Purport. The unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord, who are totally surrendered souls, do not care when they leave their bodies, or by what method. They leave everything in Krishna's hands, and so easily and happily return to Godhead. But those who are not unalloyed devotees and who depend instead on such methods of spiritual realization as karma yoga, jnana yoga, and hatha yoga, must leave the body at a suitable time in order to be sure of whether or not they will return to the world of birth and death. Yes. If the yogi is perfect, he can select the time and situation for leaving this material world. But if he is not so expert, his success depends on his accidentally passing away at a certain suitable time. The suitable times at which one passes away and does not come back are explained by the Lord in the next verse. According to Acharya Baladeva Vidyabhushana, the Sanskrit word kala used herein refers to the presiding deity of time. Om Agyana Timirandasya Ganandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitangyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Ong Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastatya Desatarini Vandehang Sri Guru Sri Uttavata Kamalang Sri Gurun Vaisnavangscha Sri Rupang Sagadratang Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadutang Parijana Sahitang Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Hare Krishna. Thank you for being there. Also, anyone who is watching online, thank you. So, yes, we are blessed to speak today on this verse from Bhagavad Gita, and yes, we have not prepared elaborately. We didn't find the time, so we hope that still we can benefit and please the audience by our reflections. And yes, we are here in the chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita, and chapter 8 is within the middle 6 chapters. So from chapter 7 to chapter 12, they are divided, or how to say, they are separated from the first 6 chapters and from the last 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita are summarized as Karma Yoga, and the middle 6 chapters are summarized as Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters as Jnana Yoga. So, and here the 8th chapter is interesting in as such that it gives a kind of transition from mystic yoga to pure devotional service. Because in this verse, Krishna is referring to yoga. Srila Prabhupada is speaking about who depend on methods like karma yoga, jnana yoga, and hatha yoga. And here in the chapter 8, it's speaking about meditating on omkara, on that sound vibration, and speaking about that goal of liberation from material contact. So without fully indicating the Krishna's abode, although it is mentioned in the previous verses also. So Krishna is advocating that we should remember him at the time of death, and then we will also go to him at the time of death. But here still there's a technical, technical perspective on how to become spiritually advanced. And in essence, as long as one is not a pure devotee, then one depends on his own efforts as the all-in-all, at least to some extent. Pure devotee means he depends only on Krishna, and he is doing only for Krishna. He is not concerned with himself. And we will try to speak on this topic also, because in the purport here, Srila Prabhupada is distinguishing that there is Srila Prabhupada is writing about unalloyed devotees. Unalloyed means there is no mixture of anything else. An alloyed means two metals, and you melt them and you bring them together, and they become an alloy. Like, as far as I know, messing I don't know English word. Messing is a mixture of copper and one other metal. And it has its own designation, like it's known as such. But it is not a pure metal. It is a mixture of two different metal kinds. So unalloyed means it is only copper. It is only one metal, one kind. And so an unalloyed devotee means there's nothing else except the devotee. There's nothing else except devotion. So, and Srila Prabhupada is saying that if one is concerned with how one leaves this world or at which time, because Krishna here is telling that it is important at which time, but Srila Prabhupada here in the purport, he's saying the unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord, who are totally surrendered souls, do not care when they leave their bodies or by what method. They don't care how they leave their body, in which circumstances. And why? They leave everything in Krishna's hands, and so easily and happily return to Godhead. These first two sentences are so interesting, and they are so crucial. And there are many verses that, that come to mind when one looks at this. Because in fact, in so many places, in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, in other kinds of, so many prayers actually, that indication is there that devotees, if they have come to a certain point, they don't care about being liberated from matter. Like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is in Shikshastakam, he's offering that prayer that Janmani Janmani Shvare Bhavatat Bhakti Rahetu Kitvayi. Birth after birth, I want to serve the Lord, indicating that we are not expecting to become liberated from birth after birth. And Srila Rupa Goswami, he is defining in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we know especially through the nectar of devotion, he is defining that the characteristics of pure devotional service. And one of them is moksha laguta krit. That means that moksha or liberation, it becomes insignificant for a pure devotee. And it is specified by the acharyas that this is taking place at the stage of bhava. So when one attains when love of Godhead actually begins to awaken, then one comes to a conclusion that I don't care about liberation. I don't care if I have to go through this birth, death, again and again, because the consciousness is so absorbed. Yes, the consciousness is absorbed on the spiritual platform, which is beyond the matter. So for them, the prospect that I am situated in the material energy or purely in the spiritual energy, I don't mind. But one thing I really do mind is I want to do devotional service. And the pure devotees, they pray for that. They don't take it for granted either. That is very interesting. Maybe not yet, but maybe we can mention this also. So in the immediate prayers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is indicated that at one stage in devotional life, one will not care even about being liberated from the material contact. And then Srila Rupa Goswami is defining it as a symptom of pure devotional service, that this realization is to be had. This realization will appear, that liberation from matter is not important. And then these days we sing in the Mudarashtakam prayers. And in those prayers there are two verses. In two verses the prayer is offered, I don't want liberation. In verse 4 and in verse 6. Both times it is explicitly stressed. Explicitly. And I didn't check it. We could check it also. Maybe in verse 7 even again it is said like this. Yes, in verse 7 also. So it's even 3 times minimum. We can check, maybe even more. And the point is repeatedly made. I don't want. No, we are asking for boons from Varesha, Varaisha, the Lord of all benedictions, Lord Damodar. We are not asking for moksha, liberation. We are asking for devotion. We are asking for prema bhakti. We are asking for love for him, and we are asking to remember him, and that he will always be visible to us. So this is the prayer of the pure devotees, of the very advanced devotees. They only want Krishna. They only want Krishna. And they want to serve him. And in Srimad-Bhagavatam, then also this is found. There's one verse, it's explaining there are 5 kinds of liberation. There is, missing the first one. Yeah, I don't remember the Sanskrit now, but it is. There are 5 kinds of liberation. One is to live, to have a form similar to that of the Lord, meaning Satchitananda body in Vaikuntha, and there is living on in the same place, meaning in the Samipya. It's in the vicinity of the Lord, be close to him. It is to directly associate with him, and to have the same opulence. The same opulence is there for us in Vaikuntha, which is made of Chintamani. Everything is made of touchstone. And one kind of liberation is also considered to become one with the Lord, to have that complete sense of I am part of him. So, and that is preferred by the Mayavadi philosophers, and that Bhagavatam verse says that any of those 5 kinds of liberation, a devotee who is mature, he will never want that if he cannot do service. So if he can do service, he will take. If he cannot do service, he will not take. So all of that is just maybe a little high for us, maybe not, but maybe we feel that, yeah, I'm just chanting little bit, and just trying to be a human being. But this is where Krishna consciousness actually leads when we progress on the path, that the experience of fulfillment and satisfaction is so deep and so complete. The sense of rasa, actually, the sense of relationship with Krishna becomes so complete and so absorbing, so deep in our experience, and so how to say? Yeah, there is nothing else in our experience than that relationship. If we just go deeper into this experience of actual Krishna consciousness, that everything else will become insignificant in comparison, and to some extent we can experience that. So, and the thing that is really a paradox, it seems like a paradox, is that those advanced devotees, they will say, I don't mind. One other Bhagavatam verse is also saying that those who are fully dedicated to Krishna or Narayan, they don't mind. They become liberated, they go to the heavenly planets, they go to hell even. They don't mind. No condition they mind, but they are fully engaged in devotional service. And they're not afraid of any external condition of life. So, and the interesting thing is that in Bhagavad Gita, in one verse in chapter 12, one double verse, he is saying that those who are fully devoted to me, they always think about me, they always do for me, they always worship me. Krishna is telling that then I will very easily, I will very swiftly, he's saying, I become the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So, which means that if you don't care about your liberation anymore, then you get it the most easily. That is very interesting. That is very interesting. So those who don't mind about this anymore, they get it the most easy. Yes, that is very interesting. So, because the purpose of liberation is not to get some relief for oneself, the purpose of liberation actually is to be positively situated. And the positive situation of the spiritual living being is, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught, that we are an eternal servant of God. And I can add this personal experience that whenever one comes in devotional service to the point where one says, I will do this no matter what. At that very moment, all adverse conditions just disappear. Maybe you have ever experienced. If one is in some struggle, there is some difficulty. I remember this on book distribution sometimes. I really wanted this. Anyway, we don't have to talk about ourselves. But that principle is there. That when it seems really difficult, and the mind is like, no, it's too much. But if there is a sincerity of heart to decide that, but I still want to do this service. I don't want to do anything else. I want to do devotional service, and I want to stick to the devotional service. I want this relationship. I want this service to Krishna. I want to do it. I really mean it. If that mood is there, then even though external difficulties may seem to be there, as soon as that determination is proved, as soon as we prove that determination to ourselves and to the Lord, then he will say, okay, you learned your lesson. I take it away. That is really funny, actually, in a way. And that same principle will be there also. Krishna, he wants that we give our full attention to the relationship with him. Full attention, not divided attention. Full attention, unalloyed. Unalloyed devotee means unalloyed attention, unalloyed devotion. How can you have unalloyed attention and devotion for Krishna if you are concerned still with something smaller? So, as long as that is there, we have not learned all the lessons yet. So, and therefore, Krishna, he has that desire that we give him our full attention and our full devotion. And as soon as he sees that this is achieved, then all the tests are passed, so to say. And we are free from the contact. And he will immediately free us from the contact of matter. Yes. Yeah. So, this is very interesting. And as much as we are lacking in this one-pointedness, then like Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, karma yoga, jnana yoga, hatha yoga, then all these other things become relevant for us as a path of progression towards that end. Then we will have to then we will have to set for ourselves that kind of frame that will help us to somehow move towards this ideal of full attention to Krishna. And we may, and whatever this practically means, that is ultimately found out, to be found out by everyone. Do we want to, do we have a certain sense of identity that I work like this, these things I can do, these things I cannot do, this is the kind of person I am? Then it is karma yoga. If we feel that I just have to understand everything so that I can work it out, then that is jnana yoga. And if we are, let's say, attached to a mystical experience, then Ashtanga yoga and meditation, mechanical meditation become relevant. And it is explained by Srila Prabhupada, and maybe also directly in the Bhagavatam, that when If one wants to have success in any form of yoga, in any form of spiritual advancement, the pinch of bhakti is always needed. This pinch of, I will do it no matter what, I fully surrender to this. That is bhakti. So, and this element will always, if the yogi is properly situated, he will always come to those points. He will always come to that end, to that moment of truth. That are we going to do this fully, or are we going to be negligent and take a, how to say, try to cut a corner? But if you cut the corner, then you cut away the bhakti, and therefore you cannot get the devotional growth from there. That is the difficulty. So, yes, that may not be pleasing to the mind, but that is something that is needed. And if we want to grow, and it is always voluntary, that is the interesting thing, that the Lord, He's always giving us. If we want, we can cut the corner. It's allowed, but then you cannot grow. You cannot get real satisfaction. The real satisfaction of coming closer to the fulfillment of life, which is pure devotion. And we have to stay in the cycle of birth and death. That is the fact. That is, yes. This is also fascinating, that the Lord, He, on the one hand, He's giving us freedom. You do as you like. In Bhagavad Gita, He will also tell Arjuna at the end, Yate chasita takuru, you do as you like. But He's telling him that if you don't, how you say this, comply, if you don't align yourself with me, you will be lost. He's telling that. So that is very interesting. You can do as you like, but if you make the wrong choice, then you are lost. But you can decide. You can decide. It's your choice. I give you that freedom. That is very interesting. On the one hand, the Lord is very lenient. On the other hand, He remains very strict. You cannot bend. Ultimately, we cannot bend anything. The law of karma will catch us if we play. So, yes. And one interesting feature here is that Srila Prabhupada explains that when a yogi is perfect, meaning I suppose an Ashtanga yogi, that he can decide when he will leave his body. In Srimad-Bhagavatam we have example of Bhishma Dev. He decides when he will leave his body. And that is also allowed. So one can even go to the spiritual world all the way by it, at least it seems like that, on his own strength. One become so accomplished and so powerful in aligning oneself with the material laws of nature that one can actually choose when to die and one can choose where to go. This is very interesting also. Yes. But it is a different approach. It is that in Ishopanishad you have this ascending and descending. The ascending approach is one works oneself up, and the descending approach is one takes the help which is coming from above. So as devotees we are advised to prefer the descending approach. We just take help from the Supreme Friend and He will just pull us up. He will take us out of the ocean of material existence. Yes. Yes. And there's one verse by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. He instructed Srila Rupa Goswami. He said that Krishna Bhakta Nishkam. Krishna Bhakta, he has no desires. He is desireless. That is unalloyed. That is pure devotion, actually. Pure devotion means there is no desire. And if there is no desire, then Ata Eva, therefore, Shanta. Therefore, he is very peaceful. as much as we are free from desires, we are very peaceful. We can see that also, no? Here in temple life, some people, they come here and they have many own ideas and they want to do so many things. They will find it difficult in this place because always someone will come around the corner and ask, can you drive the car? Can you wash the pots? Can you help me move these things in the kitchen? Some devotees. Some devotees, we know, also senior devotees, they always would like some help in the kitchen, for example. No, so if we are very full that I want to do this, I want to do that, we have a difficult time because life is bigger than our plan. Life is always bigger than our own ideas, what we want to do, and we will feel frustrated either by giving in. No, we do what others want us to do, and then we will feel that I cannot do what I want to do, or we do our own thing and we say no to everyone, and then we will also not feel satisfied because we are not spending our time here in the way that it's supposed to be, because this is the news, the temple is meant to cultivate pure devotional service and nothing else. That is the truth. Or we can learn about, let's say, at least we should learn about the techniques of pure devotional service. That is what the temple is for. It's meant to bring us towards pure devotional service. And then we see someone, he comes here for a few days, he may even understand the philosophy, but he finds it very difficult to align. And then many devotees, they come here, maybe they have some experience from before or not, and they stay here for some time, and then they have to move on into a different life situation or a different place, and because the shoe is too tight, which is natural maybe for most of us. And then some are very simple and very sincere and satisfied, and maybe from previous lives they already have the how to say, the self-centeredness is very low. The idea that I have to follow my own plans so much, it has become subdued already, and then they find it very easy to just stay here. And we see that with senior devotees especially. They come here like they have spent a life in devotional service. They may have had their family. We would say it's a vanaprastha. He has tried everything in the material world to some extent and satisfied. No? That's done, and now only devotional service. So yes. Yes, so as much as we are actually devoted to Krishna, we are very satisfied and peaceful and devoted to whatever is going to come in the day, to whatever comes the way. Krishna is standing behind everything, and he wants to serve us in different ways and in different relationships. And then the verse continues, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami. That a person who desires enjoyment, a person who desires liberation, a person who desires mystic power, Sakali, all of them, Ashanta. They are not peaceful. They are not peaceful. As much as we want anything for ourselves, we will not be peaceful. It is so simple. Yes. Only a pure devotee is peaceful. Yes. Okay, I will stop here. Maybe you'd like to add anything or ask anything?
I have two questions. One, you said that they should be as much as possible free from desires. Do you mean for sinful desires or desires in general? And yeah.
I mean, should. Yeah, should. It's desirable. The Lord is very generous. One can have whatever desire one likes, but one always has to bear the consequences. So if we have sinful desires, then of course that is very difficult in devotional service. like intoxication, meat eating, and so on. That makes things difficult, and one will experience that also. No, we know those who come here also, and they understand, and they apply themselves even, but they struggle with their background maybe. So then it is tough, and we see that they suffer a lot from it also. So it is wonderful if one can overcome such inclinations, sinful inclinations, or let's say destructive inclinations. And living a pious life as a devotee, meaning I have some desires, but I can, like in family life, we can get married, we can have a family, we can have children, we have our own house maybe, and our own facilities. Then we have less, how to say, we will be less afflicted than with sinful desires, of course, and we will have a situation where we can be more peaceful as long as things go as we want. As much as things don't go as we want, which happens a lot, then again we will not be peaceful. So it is not forbidden, and it can also not be enforced. It is a process, no? I mean, Srila Prabhupada here is hinting at the ideal, unalloyed devotee, pure devotee. It's the highest level, it's the highest achievement. So even that is not the highest achievement in one sense, but it is very high. So and it may take some time. It will take some time generally for most of us to sort out. Okay, I tried this. Okay, I've done it, and it did not give me the fulfillment I was looking for. Okay, I know the philosophy. Devotional service is the real fulfillment. I have some experience already, and as much as we are able to sort out, okay, this didn't make me happy, this didn't make me happy, then we become more and more focused, and that focus can increase and absorb us more and more. And in chapter 12 Bhagavad Gita also Krishna, he will give that succession, and first he's saying, just think of me always. Just be my unalloyed devotee. Give all your mind and intellect to me. Give everything to me, your whole inner life even. And if the inner life belongs to Krishna already, then the external life will follow that. So that is like complete dedication in the relationship. So if that doesn't work, Krishna will tell, Atachitang samadatung nashraknushi mayestiram. If you're not able to do that, then Abhyasa yogina tattva. Then practice, just practice, meaning do the devotional practice. Chant Hare Krishna, study the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad-Bhagavatam, learn how to associate with devotees, partake in the worship of the deity in some way, dedicate your activities to Krishna. Then practice. And generally that is what we do here. Yeah, and so it is not a question of just making a big cross. No more desires. But it is a question of, we say, purification, no? And the purification comes through the process. And mainly by having the comparison. I have the spiritual life, I have the material life as well. Because I have a material body, I have a material experience, but we add the spiritual experience, and gradually the realization can set in that the spiritual experience is that which is fulfilling, and the material covering and the experience that comes with that covering, that is not fulfilling, that is simply troublesome. So let me, over time that realization can set in, and then we can become very focused on the spiritual side. Yes. And how to say, it can always sound like something tough or something so, how to say, grave. but we also see how the great devotees, our idols, not like that, but how you call this? Our role models, our heroes, so to say, our superstars. It is very attractive when they are just given to Krishna. It is very attractive. Like, I don't know where this is from, but I heard one spiritual master and sannyasi, he explained this, that our supermost heroes, the gopis of Vrindavan, they in the morning they go to the Yamuna, and because they're housewives, yeah. And traditionally, the housewives or girls, they will take water pots to the river and fill up the water from the river and bring back home, because they need water in the household. So they go there with clay pots, or I don't know, metal pots, maybe some pots, big pots, and they carry on their head, like maybe from India, and they go to the river, to the Yamuna, and there they meet all the other gopis. And women, what they always do when they meet? They start talking. Yes, they start talking. And the gopis in Vrindavan, what do they talk about? Yes, they talk about Krishna. And they start speaking about Krishna. And they just go on speaking about Krishna. And the sun, it is, when they come there, it has just come up, yeah? It's morning. You need water all day long, so they go there in the morning. And the sun comes up, and gradually the sun, it goes, And it's noon, it's midday, and it's afternoon, and gradually it's getting dark, and they realize, oh no, it's getting dark, we have to go back home. And then they go back home. And when they go back home, they didn't bring any water. They forgot about the water. So they're just fully absorbed in Krishna. And there are such statements that it's too much. Even the cows in Vrindavan, when Krishna plays his flute, the cows, they want to not hear it anymore. It's too intense, that the whole consciousness becomes so, it's like a force that is driven beyond control. They're not self-controlled. They're fully controlled by their attraction to Krishna. So it's very, that's intense also, but it's ecstatic. It's nice. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I went too many circles for your small question.
You gave, in the answer it was quite clear, your answer. Maybe somebody has a question, or I can give.
Very shortly, also regarding Brian, your question about the desires. I heard recently by Vatsala Prabhu, disciple of Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, that actually even our nature, so the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra or Brahmana nature, it's our, we have called it duty, but actually it's still just our desires to be active in this material world. And that's so Krishna give us, he understands that we have these desires. So he give us this varnashrama system to somehow satisfy these desires in natural way. But actually it's meant, so Vatsala said, if I remember correctly, actually even this one, if one can, one should give up and have no desires except just to go to Krishna, to serve Krishna. But this nature even, it's still our desires, what is, and this whole system meant for, so that we can somehow engage it in devotional service. And yes, so I have actually totally a separate question of this topic. Sanjaya, what do you think? You said that the holy persons can decide by themselves when they want to leave the body. But as I heard, so that Prabhupada went to, I don't remember exactly, to England, I think, the last days, and he planned to do something else, so to preach or something like this. So he had other plans what to do, but then his health become worse, and he must go to clinic and so on. So for me, it didn't sound like he decided it to leave his body in this moment. So more like it was like just his healthy state at this moment. Yes. So did Prabhupada also decided to leave his body, or?
I don't know. But Srila Prabhupada is writing here, the unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord, they leave everything in Krishna's hands and so easily and happily return to Godhead. So what it means in detail, I don't know. It is interesting, as I was reading now, I was thinking that yes, Srila Prabhupada is writing that the devotees, they leave it in Krishna's hands, they don't mind. But at the end, Srila Prabhupada went to Vrindavan. He decided, I want to leave the body in Vrindavan. So he made some choice how he wants to leave the body. He was not, how to say, oblivious. He was not careless about how to leave the body. That is interesting. And that is an example for us, maybe. That it is better to leave the body in a holy place. I mean, Vrindavan is the maybe best place. But at least in a holy place where there are devotees. So that Srila Prabhupada showed as an example. Yeah. But Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada first went to America, he went by boat. And on the boat he had 2 heart attacks. He almost left his body. So Srila Prabhupada was ready to die just somewhere in the ocean also. And even before he went on the boat, the person who was sponsoring that, Srila Prabhupada, it was an elderly business lady. She was rich, so she could sponsor him that ticket on the ship. And he came there and he said, I want to go by ship to America. And she said, no, you are an old man, you will die. So she was foreseeing that he is old, his body is weak, he may easily die on the ship. She saw before, and she said, no, I will not let you go. But he was very determined, yes, and he was so determined that he convinced her against her good estimation. She was seeing properly. He is old, he is weak, he may die on the ship, and he almost died on the ship. From a material perspective, it almost happened. So we see that Srila Prabhupada was not attached to Vrindavan. He was attached to devotional service. He was attached to serving his guru. That was his attachment. That is what he wanted to do. He wanted to do devotional service. Yes. I would say also that this would be my last statement, is that this is practical for us, that when we wonder how we can advance in devotional service, then this is essential. Like, see the spiritual master and what he wants, and find that pure devotee whom we can fully surrender to, because that is how we surrender to Krishna actually. And in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion, how to do devotional service, which we do a lot in the temple. Like we offer obeisances, we dance, we smell flowers, we eat prasadam, we take sips of charanamrita, what else we do? We maybe do practical worship, we do all kinds of small endeavors for the Lord ultimately. We clean the temple, we clean pots, we do so many things. But it should all be devotional service. Rupa Goswami says the essence of all that we do, is to think of Krishna and not forget Krishna. That is the idea. When we offer obeisances, we should think of Krishna. When we get, it's funny in Nectar of Devotion, one limb is to offer obeisances, and one is to stand up after offering obeisances. Because when you offer obeisances to the Lord. But if you offer obeisances, you cannot see the Lord. So you stand up to see the Lord. So many things, details are there. It's all meant to think of Krishna. But how do we properly do all these things? The answer is we need instructions from a spiritual master. And therefore a list of 64 things is there. Whatever we do in devotional life is within those 64. There's nothing beyond. Bhagavatam is there, worship is there, holy name is there, associating is there, everything is there. Doing practical things, it is all there. You can fill your whole day with 64 things. And best is stay in there, and think of the Lord like that. And don't forget him like that. But Rupa Goswami says the first three most important. Take shelter of Guru, get instructions from Guru, and serve Guru. Because Guru will tell you all these things. Guru will say, go to Mangalarati. Guru will say, read the books. Guru will say, chant Hare Krishna, and so on and so on. So to have some spiritual master, someone who instructs us like that, and who knows how to instruct us properly so that we will become Krishna conscious, that is perfection. Then that is, or let's say, that is a good approach in devotional service, and to make more and more devotional experiences. Yes. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.